Welcome to video number 2. In this video we are going to look at 2 passages from the original Greek New Testament text and discuss the words, the structures, what it means. But before we do that, I just want to give you a little bit of an introduction where I talk about how you might go about learning Koine Greek on your own and the resources that I would recommend for doing that. The approach that I'm going to recommend here is probably different than what you may have seen. It's not like just one path to learn. It actually is a 3-pronged approach. And I think if you do these 3 things and you just kind of do one for a little, then another for a little, then the other for a little, cycle through them and make connections, that you will learn about Greek in a way that will stick with you a little bit better than a traditional reading a grammar, memorizing approach. So, the first of the 3 things that I would recommend you to do is to learn some modern Greek. And there are several reasons for doing this. I would say the biggest reason is if you learn just a little bit of modern Greek, you will start to get a feel for the language. And learning any language, I think it's really important to just get an intuitive feel for the language. That's how we normally learn any language. Now with a language that is just written now, such as Koine Greek, it's impossible, I think, to really get a feel for the language just by reading it. I mean, maybe you could if you read it for years and years and years, but to get a quicker read on the language, just learning a little modern Greek is extremely helpful. It will also help with the pronunciation. You'll just be able to look at the words in the New Testament Greek and read them easily without thinking about it. And the best resource that I think is out there to get started with modern Greek is a free resource. It's called Language Transfer. It's a audio that's online. I'm putting the graphics up here on the screen, and also I'll try to put a link below the video. As I said, it's free. It's fun. You don't need anything except it's a video, but it's just an audio. I mean, there's no picture that goes along with it. But anyway, I think it's really fun. You just listen and you repeat and you think. He calls it the thinking method. You're just kind of thinking as you figure out how to say things in modern Greek. The next thing that I would recommend is to just keep watching the videos that I'm making, and use also a New Testament Koine Greek text. And just start to figure it out. So you can look at the sentences and the verses that I present, and then look them up in your New Testament Greek text, and then just kind of explore, go through the rest of it, looking for similar words, the same words, and kind of piecing it together. There is another free resource for that I recommend. That is the Logos app. On the Logos app, you can get a Greek text of the New Testament. You can also get many English translations of the Bible. So what's really neat is you can just pull one up and then pull up the Greek and then pull up an English translation next to it and compare. The text that I use on the Logos app is the SBL Greek version. SBL stands for Society of Biblical Literature, and again, that is free. Another thing you can do in that app is if there's a word you're curious about, just highlight it and press on it, and it will give you information like what it means, if it's a noun, what the case is, and the gender and the person and all that. And if it's a verb, it'll tell you the tense. The third thing that I would recommend is to do all three things. The third thing would be to get a biblical Greek text primarily to use as a reference. And you can start reading about grammar some if you'd like. You'll probably get overwhelmed and intimidated by the grammar. But the reason to have the text is to just go to it. So like if something comes up about nouns, you just want to read about nouns, just go read about nouns. The reason I say you'll get intimidated is it is my opinion that the way that the Greek is presented is just overly complicated. That's my opinion. Again, just an opinion. And intimidating. But it's a good thing to have one. Two that you might look at. One is by William Mounce, and the other is by David Allen Black. I know the one by Mounce has a lexicon in the back, which has the commonly occurring words in the New Testament, so you can kind of have that there as a little dictionary or lexicon. And also it's got appendices with verb conjugations and things like that. So what I kind of do is just like bounce around between all three of these, work on your modern Greek. You could look at some of my videos with text sentences out of the Bible. You could look at your biblical Greek grammar and just kind of figure it out little by little, kind of like a language detective. So if there's a word that and then you see a word that's similar, you compare, why are they different? Is it a different case if it's a noun? How would you form that tense if it's a verb? And it may seem slow, but we as humans are built to learn language, and so little by little, all of that stuff is just going to get in your head, and you'll start to make connections. So we are now going to move on to a verse. We're just going to review the verse that I introduced in the first video, if you watched that. It is John, where'd I go? 14:6, and the English is, "I am the way, the truth, and the life," spoken by Jesus. And in the original Greek, it is "Ego imi iodos ke I alithia ke I zoe." I introduced all those words in the first video, so just a quick review. Ego is I, the person I, or pronoun I. Imi, I am. Now, in English, we have to say both I, the subject, and then the verb am. In Greek, with your verbs, you don't have to do that. So the ending on the verb tells you who the person is, if it's I, or you, or he, or we, or it's whatever. So the ero here is an emphasis. It's not necessary. The sentence could just read imi odos, imi I odos ke I alithia ke I zoe. And that would mean I am the way, the truth, and the life. So the ero means it's an emphasis. It's like I, me, strong emphasis on I am. And of course, there's a reason why Jesus did that. He's emphasizing that his person, he is the way, the truth, and the life. So, this sentence has three nouns: odos, aletheia, and zoe. Each one of these nouns is preceded by the word e, which is the article meaning the. And it's, in all three cases here, it is a feminine article. The next sentence we'll look at will have a masculine article in it. So just know that E is a feminine article. And in the sentence e, both the article e and the nouns, odos, etc., are all in the nominative case. That just means they are in the case that a subject of a sentence is in. Now, in this case, in this sentence, we've got basically what's called a predicate nominative. So you've got I, which is the subject, and then I am something. And the something there is also, I is in the nominative case, and then also the whatever the person is on the other side, the way and the truth and the life, those are also in the nominative case, because it's like the sentence is a scale with the verb to be in the middle, and it's equating I with the other things. So they're all in the nominative case. And that just makes it easier right now, and later on we'll see some of the other cases that you can have in Greek and in other languages. So let's see. So basically that's kind of this sentence. Oh, the other thing is the K. K means and. So you have I am the way and the truth and the life. That is a literal translation. The NASB has that translation. The King James has I am the way, the truth, and the life, separated by commas, which reflects the fact that this K, noun, can also mean this and also this. So you could translate it either way, just literally and, or as a list, number 1, number 2, and number 3. The next passage, or the next verse that we're going to look at, is John 15:1, and let me find that here. It again is a statement. I am. So I am the true vine, and my Father is the vine dresser, or the farmer, or the gardener, something along those lines. So just a quick note here, anyone who's learned any language other than their own native language is going to know this, that translation is not just like, there's not always just one word that's the exact translation, because things in different languages will categorize things differently. And that's a really interesting thing, and just generally an interesting thing in reading the Bible in Greek, to see those kind of differences. One that I just came across, which is kind of just by the way, is the word that means to prune is the same, like, actually it's in the same passage a little later on where he's talking about the vine and how the Father prunes the vines. The word there, pruning, as in a gardening sense, is the same word as clean, to clean something. So they use the exact same word. To clean it, to prune it, the same word. So that's just kind of an example. There are many that we'll see as we go along, but that was a sidetrack. So back to John 15:1. The verse in Greek is Ego imi I ambelos I alithini ke o patirmu o Georgos estin. So we have the same construction in the beginning of the sentence as in the previous sentence. Ego imi, and again that's stressing I am. And we're starting out exactly the same. So these nouns after the I am are in the nominative case, the case the subject's in, because again it's equating Jesus with these things. So the next construction is a little different though. You have I ambelos, and that is a noun, which is the vine, again a feminine. So you have I as the article, meaning the. Then I alithini. So alithini is actually an adjective. And this is a construction we'll get to in a bit. So literally it's like the vine, the true. Okay? and o pater mu. So we saw pater means father. Now o here is the article meaning the father. It's not translated usually. Greek will use articles in some cases where English doesn't. But the article here is masculine. So o is the masculine form of the word the in Greek. So e would be a feminine noun, o is a masculine noun. So you have o pater, the father, mu just means mine. So after a noun, if you have mu, it means my. So my father, o pater mu. So if you said I ambelos mu, that would mean my vine. Okay, so putting mu after the noun just means mine, my. So backing up with another noun, like we had I odos. If you said I odos mu, that would mean my way. Okay, so o pater mu is my father. And then the verb here is at the end. It's estine. And estine we saw in the first video means he, she, or it is. So this is the same verb as imi. So imi is I am. Estine is he, she, or it is. The verb to be is, I just want to say, probably always irregular in any language. It's a very, very common verb, obviously, to be. You know, I am, you are, he is. And you hear it in English. It's not a regular verb. I am, you are, he is. It's not how we regularly form verbs. And the same thing in Greek. You've got imi and estine. We'll just look at those two for now. So, o pater mu estine. So my father is. And then what is he? He is o Yorgos. And that again is in the nominative. Again, it's a in this case it's a masculine noun. So the article is o, meaning the, masculine the. And Georgos, you'll probably see different words in different translations here. It means somebody who works the soil, somebody who's a farmer, somebody who tends the plants, the crops. So you could, in this case, like my translation has vine dresser or vine tender, because it's a person who looks after the vines in the vineyard. Or you could have farmer or something along those lines. So the father is the vine dresser. So a couple things. One point of pronunciation. So I noted in the first video that these consonant clusters, such as you see in I ambelos, have pronunciations that you might not expect. So the mi, p, there in the middle of the word, is pronounced just like a B if it's at the beginning of the word. When it's in the middle of the word like that, it'll be like an MB. Not MP, but MB. So you have ambelos, not ampelos. So that's a pronunciation point. And then we have a kind of a grammatical construction that I mentioned before, which is in I ambelos, I alithini. So that gets translated the true vine, which is really the meaning. Literally, it's, like I said, I'll repeat, it's the vine, the true. And you'll just see this construction lots of places in the New Testament where you have, you know, whatever, oh, the something. And it's just a way of saying, of modifying the first noun that occurs there. Now, here's a point that you can kind of use to figure things out when you're looking at the New Testament in Greek. When you look at the word alithini, you probably thought to yourself, I've seen that word before, but it wasn't exactly the same. So where did we see that word before? We saw that word I alithia, which means the truth, and that's a noun. The form here, alithini, is an adjective, so that ending E is a feminine adjective. In this case, it's alithini, because the adjective is modifying ambelos, which is feminine. So alithini as an adjective, you'll see it with different endings. So if the noun that it's modifying is masculine, it would be alithinos. And if it's feminine, it's going to be alithini. So again, you could probably figure out what that word meant, knowing that I alithia means truth. You could guess that had something to do with being true or truth-like. So that's an adjective, alithinos, alithini, alithino, to mean true. So just in conclusion, that verse again, ego imi I ambalos I alithini, ke opatirmu o hiergos estin. Just think about it, look at it, compare it to what you already know, and that is the end of this video.